We have the stigma about depression that says that you're weak. You should be able to pull yourself by your buckles and push forward. But depression is much bigger than that. I wasn't aware that he was depressed for a very long time. We need our doctors to push the envelope a little bit and ask that question. Is your husband exhibiting any issues that's similar to depression? Is he doing something that makes you feel that he's depressed?
Depression in MS is very common, much higher than we expect to see in the general population. And it can be hard to diagnose because so many other symptoms can interfere with its interpretation.
My name is William. Some people call me Jerry. Some people call me Robert. I've got 3 or 4 names, and that's because I was a radio personality. Who I was, in many ways, was Robert Holliday, this radio personality. And now he was dead, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And then I felt I had no purpose anymore.
He truly just stopped at life. He did not participate in anything. At that particular time, he was still able to walk, and he still had his voice. So it didn't make sense that he didn't want to do radio anymore.
There are many signs and symptoms of depression. Some individuals feel sad and feel down at times. Other people may demonstrate or manifest their depression by symptoms of irritability. Now, some of the other things that we look for when people are experiencing greater levels of depression are things like changes in appetite, changes in sleep patterns, feelings of hopelessness, feelings of not wanting to participate in activities that individual has done before.
I see that my depression affects everybody in my life, Joel especially, because he's closest to me than anybody.
She lowers her head or she doesn't feel like moving or something like that, and then I know I'm there for her whenever she needs me.
It's incredibly exhausting for him. I see that he spends a lot of time trying to cheer me up. Sometimes I need him to just listen or just let me have time by myself.
When I can't cheer her up, I feel, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel empty inside that I'm not helping her.
There are many symptoms of depression, but 2 particular issues may actually identify depression more. These 2 particular issues are, 1, if a person has been feeling hopeless or depressed over the last 2 weeks, and the second issue is whether or not that individual has felt a loss of pleasure in that time period. If an individual answers yes to either question, if they experience even one of those 2 things, they may be at higher risk of having depression.
Having MS in my early diagnosis was a source of shame to me. I felt it made me a weak person. It made me a failure as a person. And in that shame, you find yourself withdrawn and you don't function. You always feel like you're a burden. That felt like such a big disappointment, I guess. I couldn't talk to her about what I was going through.
I felt like he should have more fight in him, but I loved him and I knew that this wasn't his fault. So it was a struggle dealing with loving him, but yet being angry with him and trying to balance the 2. One of the main things about being a caregiver is that you do forget about yourself because you're so busy caring for someone else. I'm so used to answering questions about my husband. I'm not used to talking about my own issues. He lives in a facility, he's cared for, he's taken care of. I have my own life, I work, I do these things, and then we come together several times a week, and we're very, very close. We're still husband and wife, but it's not the same. It's depressing to be in a relationship where you can't have your whole spouse.
Many things can lead to partner depression. First, they may feel isolated. Now, this depression is very common and it's very normal. The same types of concerns about not knowing what will happen in the future, how MS will not only affect that individual, but how it may affect the relationship are very common.
I can honestly say that I grieve not having the old Jerry. You grieve what you had and you want it back. The depression part is just the sadness that won't go away, and how the sadness can sometimes grow. It's almost like a plant. It starts off as a little seed of sadness, and then before you know it, it becomes this great big weight on you.
It is very normal for individuals to experience a sense of grief, to experience that feeling of loss and that feeling of not knowing what's going to happen. But that doesn't mean that they necessarily have significant depression. And so with grief, sometimes we need to just ride that out because the symptoms will get better over time. With depression, for some people, it becomes quite chronic and does not seem to improve on its own with time. And that's when we really need to try to get that individual help. Sometimes partners of those with MS don't feel like they can say things directly to that person with MS. For example, they may feel that their fears or their concerns about the unknown may put greater stress on the individual with MS. So it's important that they find and feel an outlet for someone to talk to. And that individual may be a professional, or it may come through a support group.
I did go to some counseling about a year ago. And talked about my anxiety and my depression and my situation, and that helped me a lot.
Other activities that may be used in combination with talk therapy and medications may be participating in self-help groups through the MS Society, exercise, and other forms of social interaction. We believe that the combination of these talk therapies and medication management are ideal for many people, and many people benefit from treatment.
There are so many medications out there and so many medications that may not be optimal for that one individual. That's why a sort of an individualized approach is best for everybody.
My doctor and I are working to adjust the dosage of my depression medication until I find a level that I'm happy with.
It does help when she talks to her counselor and stuff. It's nice. It's once a week. They talk over the phone. It helps. The painting helps her a lot. She's great at what she does. And when she gets involved in a project, I let her be.
My experience with depression, my art very much reflects it. I have some pieces that are very dark, but a lot of people pick up on my emotion based off my art. When I do try to find motivation or inspiration to paint, I try to immerse myself in things that bring me joy, things that bring me out of the funk. My dog is one of the best. Just doing silly things, anything that makes me laugh.
That's why I think I gravitate to technology in a way, because it gives me a certain amount of independence. I can get in my chair and ride down to the bus stop, which is 1.5 miles away by myself. I can, tell my phone to play NPR, and I can call up artists and play songs if I want to hear it. I just want independence.
I had to start making decisions for me. I had to put one step in front of the other and put together a plan for myself. I was able to put some things in place and start trying to build my life again.